This is a video from your friendly neighborhood retro freak. And what have we here? Hopefully it's the first computer project I've taken on that I won't have to abandon because of hardware problems. It's Unisys CWD-5001. These computers used to be common in supermarkets. You'd see them over where they handle the Western Union stuff. Now, this is, I believe, a low-end Pentium. And it's going to take the place of a 486 I used to own. I got into this in a previous video. But now it's almost here. It should be coming today. And I'm about ready to handle stuff. There's a little history on why separate IBM and Microsoft versions of DOS exist. Microsoft originally licensed DOS to IBM, but held on to the rights, allowing them to put out their own version. And after version 2, the two companies' products diverged. In 1985, a few months after the release of DOS 3.1, the two companies inked the deal to work on a new project, eventually to be called OS/2. At the same time, Microsoft unified their DOS product with IBM and reissued DOS 3.1. DOS 3.2 was the first version to be released specifically under their arrangement. Microsoft and IBM worked together on their 286 operating system, OS/2. All was fine until in the Skunkworks project, David Weiss at Microsoft got their Windows product running native on the 386, allowing to do things OS/2 could only dream of, like running multiple MS-DOS programs in Windows. After the inevitable breakup a few years later, the two companies took their DOS versions and went their separate ways, and they took their OS/2 versions and went their separate ways. IBM kept maintaining their version of OS/2, while Microsoft added Windows compatibility to theirs and changed the name from NT OS/2 to Windows NT. Anyway, both IBM and Microsoft made two releases of DOS 5. With Microsoft's release, you can only tell the two apart by the file timestamps. They are April 1991 on the old version, but November 1991 on the new version. IBM was more open on this matter. They added a .1 to the version number. For the most part, the differences between the old and new versions were the same. It fixed the same bugs. But IBM had another change. In the new version, they didn't lock your version of QBasic to IBM's machines. Now, little heads up before I mention anything about getting this going. I'm missing two parts. But these are not showstoppers. I've had missing parts be showstoppers on other projects. I have a legitimate copy of DOS 5. This is why I talked about DOS 5 and Microsoft versus IBM. I have a legitimate copy of IBM DOS 5, and I'll be installing that because it's legit and I know the discs work. And I have 2 or 3 different ways I can get stuff to the computer without having to rely on the floppy drive too much. The two things I'm missing are not breakers. I can still do almost everything I have to do without them. But obviously it's not going to be the full experience with a PS2 mouse, and I thought I had a PS2 mouse. But recently we cleaned up the apartment. I think we might have chucked it. All the mice I have right now are USB. And the other thing I need, and I was offered one, but the guy never got back to me, was a 16-bit sound card. So I have everything else, and I should be able to get this set up with no problem. So while I'm waiting for FedEx to come with the actual machine, I put together this little disc, and I don't know how well it's going to work, if it's going to work, but I do have a plan B if it doesn't. It's a rescue disc, and it's for what I was going to originally use to install DOS on the computer. I was originally going to install a minimal system and then use a serial link to one of my laptops to download DOS onto the computer. But then I realized I had this. So I'm going to install this instead. Now, high-density floppy disks aren't exactly the most reliable medium. All I need off this to work is about 10K. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll see if I can send the data I need some other way. But the first thing I need to get on there, other than DOS, is a serial terminal program with X modem support. And with that, I can download everything else from the laptop behind me. So, here goes. Alright, let's get ready for the smoke test. Pull out our DOS 5 discs. Now, 6 or 7 would make a more period correct installation, but I'm just using what I got right now. Okay. these should work. Alright. I guess it's a reset button. Okay. Smoke test. It's alive! Huh. Did I forget to plug in the VGA? I think it did. Obviously it's booting up anyway, so it's pretty happy without it. Turn me loose. Now when I get back, I should have the setup screen showing. Now, first things first, I'm going to F-Disk and make sure there's no partitions already. So far, so good. Okay. As they said, it's an award bias and it's a 133 Pentium. 1.2 gig hard drive, that's bigger than I expected. I thought it was going to come with, they said it was going to come with like a 350 megger. Alright. Now there's going to be a number of question marks because I don't know everything about what's going on. I do know a little more about what's going on than I do with the newer computers that I was doing before, as well as that Macintosh. And I got a lot more tools to work with. My experiences with computers of about this era or slightly earlier. Didn't check the RAM count. I'll do that once I got the DOS installed. First time I installed DOS 5 was in 1993. Let me put this thing back up in its sleeve. Where did I put this to? The answer I forgot to check before is there are 16 megs of RAM. Copied some other files I prepared, and I'm going to try to use the onboard networking instead. Hope this works. Good news, everyone! Alright, let's see. We have network. We have a working FTP app, but I haven't tried it too much. And I think we have a working downloader. Alright, this is going to test a few things on my other computer. I'm uploading this file to one of my servers, and I'm going to use either htget or I'm going to use FTP to download this. And I'm going to extract it, and there's a whole bunch of stuff here that's going to be really useful for that computer. Looks like I accidentally zapped htget. Well, let's see. I'll go through the other route. Okay. And this is gonna take a while. Switched to a bigger 32-bit downloader, and it worked a lot better. So, this is what I've got now. This will be better when I have the sound card. But even if I don't get a sound card working in here, and it should, there's no reason it shouldn't. It's already much further than my other computer projects.